Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jet, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back for another video. And if you are new here, welcome to the channel. Much appreciated. As always, I'm your host, Joe Skirto, aka Turn Up the Jets. And before we get in today's video, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If so, much appreciated. Like the video if you actually liked it. And you could follow me on social media platforms such as Twitter and Instagram at Turn Up the Jets. All one word. Here's another topic that I want to discuss that I haven't talked a whole lot. We have talked about so much over the last few months as Jets fans and even as NFL fans in regards to the Jets and how much promise this team could possibly have with Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they were 7-10 with the worst quarterback play. We know all of this, but the one thing that we should, or people think we should be worried about, is the offensive line. One of the worst units last season. I think most of those stats are credited to the last 6 games. They were just flat out banged up. They were playing third, fourth strings of positions. They had to basically play guys that they were claiming on waivers. I mean, it was just a mess. It was a complete mess. Dwayne Brown got hurt. We already know Becton was hurt before even taking a snap. Vera Tucker was hurt. Fant was in and out of the lineup. McGovern was in and out of the lineup. It was a disaster. So the offensive line right now has been the popular topic of reason for concern for this Jets team, who has very few weaknesses on paper. But I've heard a lot that, not even just Jet fans, but the average NFL fan, the average NFL analyst are really making this a topic coming very close to September 11th, which would be the Jets opening night versus the Buffalo Bills. Like that the Jets should panic. If someone gets injured, they're screwed, blah, blah, blah. Even last year, the offensive line was so bad. Even healthy, they should be worried. Should they trade for an offensive lineman late? Zach Martin might be on the market. Listen, I'm not as worried in terms of the offensive line than the normal maybe individual is. The Jets did just add an offensive lineman, Grant Hermans. You might have remembered him as an undrafted offensive lineman out of Purdue who they got into the 2021 draft, the famous Zach Wilson draft. They got him from Tampa Bay. They claimed him off waivers. And it just made me think that possibly, maybe the Jets make another move here in the offensive line category. And I saw that Zach Martin earlier was disgruntled. He hasn't shown up. He wants more money. He's one of the best offensive guards in the league. The Jets have money. The Jets have essentially some more draft picks. Do they make the move? I don't know. But for me, I am not getting freaked out yet, as Aaron Rodgers hasn't even taken a snap with the Jets, about this offensive line unit. And I'll tell you why. So here it is. You got AVT coming back from injury. He's by far your best offensive lineman. I don't have to tell you this. He's versatile. He's athletic. He's consistent. He's a future all-pro guard in this league, possibly even tackle. Like, he was playing an all-pro level. I know it's a smaller sample size in 7 games, but he was playing a all-pro level in both positions, on both sides. The versatility's off the charts. You put him somewhere, you don't have to worry about it. You can expect little to none pressure. One pressure at the most on a week-to-week basis. He's that good. He's a set and forget type of guy. He's healthy. He had that tricep injury, just that hell of a game in Denver where they lose Breece Hall and AVT, essentially their 2 best players on the offensive side, or at least their 2 most valuable players up until then on the offensive side. So he's a set and forget. Knock him off the list. Laken Tomlinson is interesting on the other side. He's most likely going to be the left guard. AVT will be the right guard. That's what I assume. Even though AVT is the stronger player, Laken Tomlinson's making the money. This was a guy who was a Pro Bowl and borderline All-Pro in 2021, excuse me. In 2022, it was basically the opposite. He had some of his worst statistics in his career last year. In terms of allowing sacks, pressures, he wasn't as strong in the run game. He's got to be better. Should we be worried? I'm not totally worried about Laken Tomlinson. The one thing he did do is he stayed healthy. And he can't get any worse than he was last season. You may think it was a terrible year. Yeah, it was bad for his standards because they're giving him the money. He was a big sign last year. I was pumped up when they signed Laken Tomlinson. Like, this is a guy who just made the Pro Bowl. He's getting better each year. He's getting better with age. He's a veteran. He comes from a good organization with the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go. It wasn't the season we expected. Whatever. That's a wash. I don't care about last season. If he's healthy, I think he's going to vastly improve. And I think he is a candidate of the most improved offensive lineman in this whole unit. Yeah, you might think that's crazy because you got Becton and you got even Dwayne Brown who could improve because he was injured last year, Max Mitchell, Billy Turner, McGovern, anyone. You could pick anyone else, but I think he will vastly improve this year because he has shown that he can play in the NFL level and he can show he can play at a high level at the NFL level. So the guards, the interior with the guards is I'm not really nervous. Like, I think AVT and Laken Tomlinson is a very solid duo. Like, I really do. I'm not worried about the interior. Also, I mean, I think the majority of us aren't. I could speak to probably most Jets fans that we're not totally worried about Laken Tomlinson, and we're not worried at all about AVT. It's the tackle position and possibly the center. That's when the competitions get in. That's when the question marks start to set in. And let me save the best for last. I'll get into the center quick because the tackles is the main thing you're kind of shitting your pants over, right? Center. Connor McGovern. You could say what you want about him, but he's fine. Another thing, he's durable. He plays. He's probably banged up last year, but I think he played most games. I don't know the exact games he played last season. But I know he was in there the majority of the time. So, with Connor McGovern, but there's still going to be a competition there, though. You're going to have Wes Schweitzer, who they got over from Washington, and you obviously got the second-round rookie out of Wisconsin and Joe Tippmann. Popular pick, Joe Tippmann wins the competition, and he starts week 1. I don't think that's going to happen. The people that were writing off Tippmann like after 1 week of training camp is laughable. He obviously had a strong debut in the Hall of Fame game. Again, yes, it's Hall of Fame game, but he is improving. He's going to be a good center, and I don't think there's any reason to rush him into week 1. Do I want to see him at least by week 4 or 5, especially if McGovern is struggling? Absolutely. But when you're looking at the quarterback in Rodgers, I don't think he wants a rookie center behind, in front of him, snapping the football against the Buffalo Bills week 1. I don't think he wants that. I think he wants a reliable veteran. Say what you want about McGovern again, but he is a veteran. He has given the Jets a solid amount of years, and he did take a team-friendly deal. He's barely making the vet minimum this year. About like $1 million, I think he's making in 1 year. So I think McGovern's going to win that job. And I'm not too worried about him either. I'm not, because guess what? If he struggles, you have Joe Tippmann, and it's time to see what this young rook can do. But I don't think there's any reason to force him week 1. I really don't. Yeah, he was drafted highly, of course, because the Jets think highly of him and they think he can have an impact. But just because he doesn't start opening night doesn't mean he's not going to have an impact. Remind you, this dude could also play guard too. So God forbid one of those guards go down. This is another guy who can show versatility and switch around. It might be harder for him at the NFL level, but he is capable of doing it. And that's a big reason why I believe Joe Douglas liked a player like Tippmann. He loves the versatility offensive lineman. That's why he's drooling over AVT. And he obviously hit that one out of the park despite ending the season last year or whatever. But Tippmann's another guy. Versatility. He's a bigger dude. He's big for a center. He's awfully tall for a center. It will take time for him to develop. I would rather have him Yes, it's an all-in year, but if you don't play your center in the first few games, it's fine. It's fine. You know, as long as you have Aaron Rodgers receiving the football, you're fine. You can relax, right? Is that what Rodgers says? Relax. So with Timmon, if you got a McGovern who's maybe banged up or underperforming, there you go. You gave him a few weeks to adjust. He's ready to go rather than throwing him in the fire week one. So I think it's going to be McGovern, Tomlinson on the left, AVT in the right. And then we get to the fun part, the tackle position. Dwayne Brown's going to be the left tackle. I don't have a doubt about it. Yeah, he's 2 weeks away from coming back, essentially, per Robert Saleh, and the Jets play a football game in 4 weeks. This guy's been around for, 15 plus years? He's a wily vet. He's been around the block. And when he was healthy last year, well, he really wasn't healthy all year. But when he was at his 75% and not his 25%, which he was really in the last quarter of the year, the last 4 games, it was a disaster for him. He was just banged up and he had enough. Understandably so, but he's going to be the left tackle. There's a reason why the Jets aren't worried. There's a reason why Robert Saleh hasn't really openly said it's a left tackle, right tackle competition. Yes, he said there's competitions for the tackle positions, but he keeps saying he's the left tackle. He's the left tackle. He'll be back. We'll get him back. We're excited to have him. He raves about him. I'm not worried. Maybe I am worried about Dwayne Brown because of his health. I am worried about it and his age. The age and the health don't add up. And if I was a betting man, I don't think he stays healthy all season. So this is where I worry a bit, because then you have to dig deep in your depth in the tackle position. Because then the right side, who the hell are you starting? Is it Mekhi Becton? Ultimately, the fan favorite there, because this is a former first-round pick who just had insane upside. Big, athletic, strong as hell. Injuries riddled him. Bad right knee. He has a bad right knee. Hasn't played a game in 2 years. Played 7 snaps, got hurt again in Canton. Nothing really serious, but ultimately took himself out of the game, felt uncomfortable. He said, this is my new norm, though. He's got to deal with it. He knows he has to. That worries me. That worries me. And that's why I think Max Mitchell is going to be the starting right tackle. Do I think he should? Who gives a shit? I just think he will. I think the Jets are obsessed with Max Mitchell. What he did in a small sample size last year, it might be viewed as a little bit of overrated of how good he was, just because of how bad at times the Jets' offensive line was. So if you had a bright spot, the expectations were just a bit higher than they would be in a normal year. And that's what Max Mitchell was, a 4th-round pick, a day 3 draft pick last year in the draft. Before that, devastating blood clot that kicked him out of the year after the Minnesota game, he was reliable. He did come in and play well. And he is a big body. He is strong. And it's not much, it's funny when you talk about offensive line. You can't really throw stats out there. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's versatile, he's reliable. It's not like a receiver. Oh, yeah, he did have 50 catches and 488 yards in a 5-game span, even though that would be ridiculous. But anyway, it's nothing like that. That would actually be insane if someone had 50 catches for 488 yards. That's straight up spew, but you get what I'm talking about. There's not really stats. It's games. It's their pressure percentages, how they do in the run game. Just staying on your blocks. He still has a lot to prove as well. I don't think this is far from a set forget. But I think that's going to be your starting lineup. And here is why I am not overly worried. In a perfect world, Mekhi Becton doesn't get traded. Mekhi Becton doesn't lose his mind if he doesn't crack the starting lineup week 1. And Mekhi Becton ultimately heals that knee a little longer and has a shot if Mitchell is struggling or injured. Same with Dwayne Brown. If Dwayne Brown is injured, I don't see Dwayne Brown struggling if he's healthy. Becton would have an opportunity. A guy like Billy Turner, who's been around the block, would have the opportunity. They got more depth at the tackle position than they did last year. So pick your poison. You want Becton or Mitchell? Either way, one of those guys are coming off the bench if someone's hurt. You feel pretty good considering both of those guys could start for your lineup. Billy Turner, I get it. He's not the most sexiest option, but he's been around the block. He's played with Aaron Rodgers. He's played in the Nathaniel Hackett system. It may not matter as much because he is offensive line, but it does. He knows the schemes. He knows, Aaron Rodgers. He knows how quick he gets out of the ball. He knows his read, blah, blah, blah. He knows a lot about what this offense is going to be about. So that's another nice guy who has experience with the offense, the quarterback, and just in the league in general to come off your bench if you need him, if someone gets injured. Injuries, of course, is going to play a part, but this Jets offensive line could be good. It really could. Yes, there's kind of a couple things that have to go their way. And who knows, maybe this is finally the damn year that something goes the Jets' way. They got Aaron Rodgers. That's a start. In a normal world, everyone would have been hyping up Aaron Rodgers and he doesn't come to the Jets. That's what some of the Jets fans were thinking about. After a month, if this guy really doesn't come to the Jets, what the hell? Hey, that fell in their favor. A couple things have to fall in their favor. Laken Tomlinson bounces back. The center position is taken over by Joe Tippmann, and he is the second-round pick that they expected on draft night. Dwayne Brown stays healthy, and either Becton or Mitchell comes in and breaks out and stays healthy. And I won't even say stay healthy. I would just say break out. They finally prove us that they are a starting tackle. One of the two of those guys. So that's 4 scenarios. Basically 4. Now, I mean, I guess the Tippmann really isn't a scenario. It's just Tippmann gets an opportunity. We'll see how it goes. But I guess it is. AVT set and forget, right? Tippmann wins the job. Not even wins the job. He doesn't even have to win the job. Tippmann comes in maybe week 3, week 4, performs well as the center for the rest of the year. Dwayne Brown stays healthy. One of Mitchell or Becton. That's 3 scenarios. One of Mitchell or Becton. No, it's 4. Jesus. One of Mitchell or Becton, shines. And then Tomlinson bounces back from last year. And I think Tomlinson bounced back from last year's like 4th that the Jets really need. In my opinion. One is Dwayne Brown needs to stay healthy. Left tackle is the most valuable position ultimately on the offensive line. 2 is the right side. 3 is Tippmann. And then I think 4 is Laken Tomlinson. Even if 2 or 3 of those hit, the Jets offensive line will be good. They will be okay. The health, yes. Should it scare you? Sure. But week 1, you should not be scared. You should want to see what a healthy Jets offensive line has. Rodgers is the perfect guy. He doesn't need an insane offensive line. And he didn't really have top-tier offensive lines. Of course, he had Bakhtiari, and he had some really good ones in and out. But I'm not saying he had a top 2, top 3 unit. He gets rid of the ball faster than anybody in the NFL. Him and Brady were known for that. Peyton Manning back in the day as well. Brett Favre, those guys can get the ball and throw it right away. Rodgers goes through his reads before the play even starts. He knows where everybody is going to be. If he is able to do that, if he's able to manipulate defenses like he has in his last 15 to 16 years as a starter, he will be fine. And so, the offensive line will be fine because he will be fine. Keep him upright. Give him a few seconds to throw. That's the thing. It's way different than any other quarterback. You have to give him time to go through his... No, Rodgers is going to drop back the pass, and he's going to throw it immediately. So the offensive line, there's scenarios that they could be a good unit. So let's relax. If they had an opportunity to trade for an offensive lineman before the year, sure, even mid-year. You can never have enough big guys up front offensively or defensively. But I am not nervous right now about the New York Jets offensive line. Is it the biggest hole or concern? Is it the biggest question mark, rather? Sure. I definitely will give that. But I'm not worried yet. Let's see the Jets play a game. If Aaron Rodgers is sacked 6 times, man, maybe I'll be worried. But just knowing the game and the style that Aaron Rodgers plays in this offense, it's quick. Everything runs quickly. Keep him up front for a few seconds. Let Brown stay healthy. Let that right tackle competition, whoever wins that, thrives. Let Laken Tomlinson bounce back. Give McGovern his flowers for the first few weeks and then let Tippmann go in. They'll be okay. Video's a little more positive. I know that the Zach Wilson video probably wasn't well liked. It is okay. But that's going to do it here. I just wanted to come in, give my opinion. I'm not as worried as the average person with the Jets offensive line. I have faith in this offensive line. Yes, they do need a few things to go their way, but hell, it can happen. And right now, today, I'm not worried. I'm going to worry when I need to worry. So I'm optimistic right now with the Jets offensive line. And heck, the Jets offensive line is good or even decent. Watch out. Well, appreciate it if you lasted the entire video. Again, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you are a first-time listener, welcome to the channel. Much appreciated. Hopefully I have earned my subscription or subscribe from you, anyone is new. And again, I welcome anyone, any fans, Jets, NFL. I'm going to be making more NFL as a whole content. I'm making my NFL predictions for every division. So that video or those series of videos, there'll be a video for each division, and my predictions will be starting very shortly as we are just about 4 weeks from NFL kickoff. So appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, like the video if you've actually liked it, and follow me on social media platforms at Turn Up the Jets, all one word, on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, see ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight.